Winters don't last forever. Some are difficult and some are easy, but they never last forever.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the call. Cesar Ramirez here. It is 2 after the hour, and I just got emails sent here that some folks couldn't get in because of the link, so I gave out the dial-in information. So if you guys are having a hard time with audio, if you can please check the chat and just send somebody the audio link there on how to dial in. That's always the best for audio. But, you know, for those that are dialing on the computer, you're probably seeing a screen right now of myself and a picture of a gentleman named Scott Aguilar. He was actually a coach of mine a little bit over 4 years ago. Met him in 2009, and we did a webinar about 2 weeks ago or so, and I wanted to bring him back out because what I've noticed is in my own particular situation, my team, you know, folks tend to taper off after the holidays, and you know, they ask me, Cesar, how can I find the leaders? I need some more leverage in my life, and so I wanted to bring out Coach Scott again, and I appreciate you being out tonight, Scott, again, man. I appreciate you taking the time and carving out your busy schedule, and really, you know, I think last time we spoke, you had brought in over 60,000 people in your organization in a short period of time. I call it short because, you know, I spent 4 years to go to college, and it's nowhere close to making 7 figures as a computer engineer. So my goal was to bring you out and say, you know, let's answer some questions. Let's drill you, if that's okay. I got a few questions here that I got to go through. But what do you do? Well, let's answer that first. What do you do? How do you get back up yourself after a holiday slump? You know, you overstuffed yourself, maybe drank too much, and how do you get back into that mode of mojo, if you will, to start building again? So, Scott, thanks for coming out, my friend, and rock and roll, my friend. Let's go.
Right on, man. Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're sounding clear. You're perfect.
Loud and clear. Fantastic. Well, thanks again. Yeah, definitely for having me on, and yeah, I'd be open to going through some Q&A with you. And yeah, man, I mean, coming off of a holiday, you know, an entrepreneur, we have this love-hate relationship with holidays, right? I mean, every day is a holiday, right? Like today was kind of like 4th of July, you know, for a lot of us, right, that are free, that don't have to have a job, wake up when we want to wake up, do what we want to do all day long, go to the park, go to the beach. That's today. And so the difference is with a holiday that all of our friends get to come out and play, right? And you get to have media and you get to have all these sales and all this stuff, right? To just, you know, whatever. But the deal is that coming off a holiday, oftentimes it's just like, oh, I got to like get myself going. I need to like reset myself and I need to get it going. So anyway, just want, you know, maybe a tip for that, you know, getting going after the holidays is all about, you know, motivation. People always ask me about it, you know, being motivated. What's the key? What's the deal with being motivated? How do you stay motivated? And, you know, I read a book, I think it was might have been Darren Hardy, one of his earlier books that he might have written. No, it was Mach 2 with your hair on fire. That's what it was, Mach 2 with your hair on fire. And they talk about motivation, and motivation is a contrast between your vision and your current reality. Right? So your vision, if you don't have a very clear vision for where you're going, if it's a little fuzzy, you'll find yourself not being too motivated, right? But you'll find the people that are super motivated all the time, they have deep down inside of their cells, they have this vision for where it is that they're going, and it pulls them, you know? So I teach a lot of my clients, a lot of my coaching clients, as part of the process of pulling yourself towards your future lifestyle is to take a few minutes and write down one day in the life of. You know, one day, 5 years from now, just write it out, one day in the life of, and write that out. And, you know, and we did that 16 years ago, and it was one of the best experiences I've ever done because it got me kind of out of my head and it allowed me to flow, and I started writing down, you know, when I woke up, what I had for breakfast, you know, when I opened up my garage, what my garage looked like, you know, the view out my bedroom window, you know, all this stuff. And it was 5 years from now, and it becomes your vision. But if that's not clear, if your life, what it's going to look like 5 years from now, when you hit your goal, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, if it's fuzzy, it doesn't matter, man. You'll be very, very difficult to stay motivated. You'll have to rely on external motivation like seminars, tapes, this, and that to pump you up because you're not being motivated from the inside out. So anyway, Cesar, that's a little tidbit on motivation. I got a lot more where that came from, but hopefully that helps somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's begin. I got slammed with emails after our last coaching session, and a lot of folks have been asking some pretty cool questions. This one comes in from John out there in Texas. I've just started making money. When should I quit my job? That's a great question, John.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, great question. So my recommendation of somebody quitting their job, it really depends on your personality style, I think. It depends on how much money you have saved up. It depends. There's a couple different factors, and you'll have some coaches that just straight tell you an answer, say, hey, this is the answer across the board, and I'm not that coach, right? I mean, it's something that we'd have to talk about. I just did a call earlier with a guy who asked me a question very similar to that. He's not in a network marketing or home-based business. He's doing something totally different. But, he's like, hey, I'm not being able to spend enough time on my business, my company that I'm wanting to launch. I'm spending too much time in my job. Should I quit my job and put all my energy into this company? And I said, well, listen, man, it depends on your energy. If you don't have that income coming in from your job, how is your energy going to be every day? Because if you're in marketing, if you're in anything that's a creative flow of consciousness, you need to have pure energy, right? You need to have pure energy. You need to have, because marketing, communicating, leading is all vibration, right? It's all vibe, and people can sniff you. They can smell if you're stressed out, or they can smell if you're desperate, or they can smell, and you don't want to come from that angle. So my point is with somebody that says, hey, when's a good time to go full-time? When you have a lot going on, like when you have so much going on, it's almost you lose money by going to your job. If you're losing money by going to your job, you should quit your job. Other than that, keep your job for a while. There's no disrespect in you having a job. Just know that it's a stepping stool. I mean, your job is just there right now to pay some bills and help you to be able to afford your future business. And you need some of that money that's coming from your job to put into your business. And so anyway, I think that's some perspective for some people.
That's good stuff. Okay. Yeah. Another question we got here coming from Julie out there in New York. My team keeps dying. I think we've all been here. How can I build a team that will last? Great question, Julie.
All right. So when you're in network marketing, direct sales, you're building a team of entrepreneurs, and what you need to understand is that really it's a business of influence, right? It's a business of influence. Here's what I mean. If you can get people in the business that have a lot of influence, meaning when they talk, people listen, then chances are that your business is going to stick around for a while. Your legs will die, right? Your legs will die out when influence hits rock bottom. Okay, so here's an example. If you on a scale from 1 to 10, think of yourself as, let's just say, a number 6 on a social and economic scale. Okay, just give yourself a number, whatever it is. Maybe you're going to say you're a 2. Maybe you are a 10. I don't know. Let's just say you're a 6 on the social and economic scale on a scale from 1 to 10. Well, the tendency is to start recruiting 4s and 5s, okay? Because it's easier for you emotionally to reach out to those people. You feel pretty nervous reaching out to a 7 or to an 8, okay? Now, but here's the deal, though. You want in your team, you want 9s and 10s in your team. You want a person in your team that if they need to recruit 12 people, they make 12 phone calls, right? I mean, you want those people in your group, but how are you going to get to that level of influence? Well, it's about prospecting up. The way that your team will die is because it continuously gets prospected down. If you're a 6, you recruit a 4. The 4 comes in. The 4 feels more comfortable recruiting a 2. The 2 comes in. 2 puts in a 1. The 1 doesn't have enough money to keep their auto ship on, pay for their website, buy leads, anything. Struggle, disaster, and it just hits rock bottom. Where if we would start teaching and communicating, hey, prospect up, recruit up, and everybody's trying to go up the social economic scale instead of falling down off the cliff, the business will stay and it will continue to flourish because you're not going to have all these problems that are associated with a lot of people that are low on that economic scale. So it's about prospecting up.
And that's a huge deal because I know for a fact that from my team, it's always, folks are always asking, how do I get my brother or my cousin in that maybe has never been in business? And that can really be a struggle because they wonder why they quit a week later or a month later or even 90 days later because they just didn't have that spark in them. So I'm sure that really kind of brings it all together. How would one rate themselves, Scott, if they're like in the situation where, okay, scale 1 to 10, where exactly am I? I've done a few home-based businesses before, but I still told my friends and family that fell off. So where would you consider that person at, having a little bit of experience? Would it be right in the middle or a little bit higher?
I would say if you don't know, you're a 5 or a 6.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah, you're a 5 or 6. Let's just say you're a 6. Let's just benefit of the doubt, right? You're a 6, and think about it. There's some people that make you really nervous to contact. Okay, that means they're probably a notch or 2 up. And there's other people that for you would be really comfortable and super easy to call. They maybe to you would be a notch or 2 down. And so that's how I would kind of scale that out.
Perfect. Okay, looks like Douglas, you got your audio fixed. Yeah, you have to click on the audio options at the top. Sorry, I should have put that in the emails. For folks that rather dial in, you guys can always dial in at the top. Just change audio options to be dial in. So there you go. Okay, so moving on to the next great question here. This is good stuff. We have a new group, and when do you recommend that we do weekly presentations? Should it be like every 10 new people, every 20? So I guess this would be considered more of a local group marketing. Well, I guess it can go either way, Scott. It would be either offline, like hotels, or it can be webinars for the team. How big should it be?
Yeah, well, I think that, you do events. This is training, right? So this is training. This is the gloves are off. This is like trying to give you value for this time that we're connected right now so that you can go out and be better at doing whatever you do, right? So this is different. We could do these every day, every other day, whatever, right? So training, you always want to take in content to make yourself better. But when it comes to group presentations, whether it's offline, a lot of this stuff would be in that context probably offline, whether it be a small venue, somebody's house, hotel event, motel, whatever, something like that, a group setting. It's much more effective and exciting to have too many people in a small location. Like I'll never forget when we had an event set up, Cesar, at a hotel, and it was actually out in Rancho Mirage, out in the desert by Palm Springs. And I remember having a room set up for 500 people that were going to show up in our team that Saturday for an event. So we're going to have 500 people there, right? Now, we had it all set up for 500, all that stuff. We got this room, the whole deal, and I think that like 380 people showed up, or maybe 320. But it looked horrible, man. It didn't look good. It was like too much space, too little people. It wasn't exciting. In contrast, we've had events where we were sardined in a room that was set for 150, and we had like 200 people, 300 people trying to get sardined into a room. And you could take those numbers and you could scale them down, scale them up, whatever you're thinking right now. But the deal is that you don't want to have a small, lousy weekly meeting, okay? There's too many people out there that bring corporate America into network marketing or direct sales, affiliate marketing, whatever, right, home-based business stuff. You bring this idea of schedule, and you've got to have a weekly meeting. Well, here's the problem with your weekly meeting. If you have a weekly meeting at your house or a weekly meeting at your office, and you're setting it up to create structure for yourself. It's more for you than for your people, right? It's for you because really the reality of it all is that you want to be, if you're going to do some stuff offline, you want to be in your newest person's home as soon as possible so that they own whatever opportunity you're doing. Because it's only in their home that it then becomes their business. Now it's theirs. They own it. They brought their grandma, their aunt, their neighbor, their friend, and people are more likely to show up to somebody's home than for that person to pull them out to, a hotel or something like that. So, I guess that answer is kind of twofold. Number one, I wouldn't do a small meeting, small events. I wouldn't do anything weekly unless you had a monstrous, growing, slamming business. I wouldn't do it, because you should be doing, like, right now. When's the best time to show somebody your opportunity? Right now. You sign up somebody today, and your opportunity meeting is, let's say, Monday nights, and let's say today is Thursday. Are you seriously going to sit around and be like, well, let's invite a bunch of people on Monday? Are you kidding? You know how many people that I would go recruit between now and Monday when you show up with your 1 or 2 people and already have like 6 or 7 in the system by that time? Right? And here's the other thing. A person, when they enroll, they think that that's the way to do it. So if you just bring people to meetings or if you just bring people to webinars, here's what they're going to say every time. When's the next meeting? When's the next webinar? Because in their mind, that's how it was done to them. That's how they think it is. That's why any type of an opportunity, if you have some way to automate the presentation process, then you give that new person, control over their business, and they can show it 24/7. And then you have social gatherings and you have small events, trainings, webinars like this, where we can kind of do a team huddle, which is much more effective in my opinion. But give the power to the new person, let them have some automated way of showing the business, and then group together for trainings. So I know that's a little bit long, Cesar, but
no, that yeah, it does. I got a question here on the chat from Bill Glacier. He's one of the gentlemen on my team. Thanks for being on tonight, Bill. He says, if I am a 5, how do I develop that confidence to present our business to an 8 or above? That's a great question. So,
great. Yeah. Bill, what I do is I would not do that. What I would do is I would focus on getting a 6. I would stretch a little bit, go to a 6. See, you don't want to totally change yourself, right? In the game, you want to make money and you want to have a ton of people underneath you that are way better than you are, right? I mean, think about it. If you're a 5, you want to have a ton of people underneath you that are 10s. But it's going to take you a while to become a 10, to become a 9. And, in the beginning, what I teach you to do is why don't you go find a 6. And then we're going to teach the 6 how to find a 7. And we're going to teach the 7 how to find an 8. And you're going to have 5 or 6 or 7 levels down that you're going to have some 9s and 10s. And they're going to be totally disconnected from you in relationship and your contacts. But it's always your people's people where the money's at. It's very rarely with your own people.
Great answer. Bill says great answer, so you covered that really well. Is there any type of personal development that you recommend for that new person, Scott, that maybe like a Jim Rohn, or I don't know if you have, I think you give out some pretty good audio on your website, but something that has inspired you or that you can give to that new person to say, man, this is my vitamin for the brain this morning to really get into the mojo gear of connecting with that next person. Yeah.
Yeah, I think anything, this day and age, it's just amazing what we have available over YouTube. My guys will ask me all the time, they're like, hey, what book should I buy? I'm like, hey, man, I'd rather you save your money, and put gas in your car, food on your table, support your kid, whatever. Go on YouTube and type in success, whatever, like type in motivational talk, and then it'll take you about 5 minutes until you find something that fires you up. Right? If you wanted direction, if you want me to give you direction, I like Eric Thomas, etinspires.com, generic, motivational, like rock star. I love the guy. I mean, he's got so much energy and just a great guy, right? Eric Thomas. Another person, obviously, the big dog in the personal development arena would be Jim Rohn. I think Jim has some incredible material out there. Brian Tracy, I'm pretty analytical, and I really like Brian Tracy's style. I recommend the book Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. I've recommended that book to thousands of people, and if you're going to buy any book, and you're okay to have a thicker book that you can just kind of thumb through, and every time you open it, you find some other great piece of information to get you fired up, definitely would be Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. So, between YouTube, Cesar, and, a couple of these other audios here and there, I mean, dude, hey, we all got smartphones. let's make some money with our smartphones. You know, we might as well use them to the best benefit.
No, absolutely. I'm typing it for you guys in case you guys missed some of those. Eric Thomas, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Maximum Achievement. Ironically, I actually was playing Jim Rohn in the beginning. If you guys don't recognize that voice, I have quite a bit of his audios. Actually fell asleep. I don't know if this ever happened to you, Scott, but I fell asleep to personal development, you know, like listening to good stuff, and I have dreams about positive stuff. Is that subconscious, like my brain is not asleep quite yet? Is everything has that ever happened to you?
Dude, there's actually a device that you put inside of your pillow that you can actually have, like, you could listen to positive stuff all night long while you're sleeping, and it doesn't have to be loud, and it's actually in your pillow. You could type it in on, you know, some search or whatever. You could type in speaker in pillow, and you could find this, what I'm talking about. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, man. I mean, shoot. I mean, your mind is constantly working, and you might as well feed it. Here's the thing with being positive in books and tapes, you guys. Really get what I'm about to say. I've spent a lot of time with Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy is the publisher of Success Magazine. And Darren says, he says it so well, he says, if you have a dirty glass of water and you want to get it clean and you can't dump it out and have nothing in it, the fastest way to clean it out is to dump a lot of pure water in it. And I don't know if you guys have ever done that before, maybe with your kids, a science project or whatever. You get a dirty glass of water and you pour clean water in it. At some point, the dirty glass becomes clean, and that's really what you're trying to do. That's what personal development is all about. It's not saying don't think about negative stuff. It's simply saying think more about positive stuff than you do spending time thinking about negative stuff to replace, right, to overwhelm yourself with, you know, abundant thoughts, positive things that are going to move you forward, not things that are full of fear and scarcity and things that hold us back. Because, I mean, that's real. What's real? Fear, right? Doubt. I mean, that stuff's real for everybody. So how do you stay ahead of your? Imagine yourself running, and you have fear and doubt behind you, and personal development is the only thing that will keep fear and doubt behind you so that they don't overwhelm you.
Mm.
You got to stay. You got to keep yourself in personal development constantly. Like I am constantly. I'm, you know, listening to audios, reading books, like all this stuff constantly, just to keep my own sword sharp. It's important.
So you say you recommend it daily?
Dude, I recommend as much as you could possibly handle, man. I mean, hey, you want to be the most positive. I mean, I was so positive, you know, in the beginning. I was surrounded by negativity, and what ended up happening is I annoyed all the negative people out of my life.
That's pretty awesome. You know, and I think that's the fear of some folks. Right? I grew up with, you know, ex-negative friend, and he's been my best friend forever, and I don't want to lose him. And he knows I'm in XYZ company having success, and he sees all this positive stuff on Facebook, so he unfriends me. You know, all those thoughts go race through your mind. But at the end of the day, this is the way I see it. If that friend is not helping you get to the next level, what kind of friend is he really about, right? I don't know if that makes sense. I see it that if it's not helping me pay my bills, then I exit out of my life.
A lot of people, hey, Cesar, you know what, man? A lot of people, you're shining light on you. Like all you guys listening right now, and maybe you're listening to the recording or whatnot, you're shining light on you. You're trying to do something. You're stepping out. You're saying enough is enough. I want to create my tomorrow. If somebody's going to write my book, give me the pen. Right? You want to be the one writing your book, right? And if you're shining light on yourself, guess what? Some of that's spreading off to some people that are close to you, and now they're getting a little bit of light shined on them, and it's shining on them to the extent that it's showing what they're not doing in their life, how they are living, how they are in a lot of lack, or they are in a lot of, you know, this or that. And a lot of those people, they don't like that, right? So So you'll see some people will spread from you a bit, but it's not a bad thing. It's okay. Just like Cesar, what you're saying, man. I mean, it's not a bad thing. You know, at some point, some of those people, they'll come back around. It's just in their life, in their drama, in their bubble right now, they're just not ready. You know, they're not ready, and you can't make somebody ready if they're not ready.
That's huge value. Next question comes in from Florida. Looks like, let me paste this in here. What book is your number one recommended book?
Like I said before, Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. I think Maximum Achievement is, the guy hits it on the head with that book. I mean, there's so much stuff in there about replacing thought, talks about your subconscious mind, your conscious mind, goes into the law of attraction and really what law of attraction really is, vibration. Goes in through a lot of that stuff, man. I think that's a big deal. That's a big personal development, business building book that I think would add value to just about anybody. And you could pick it up online for maybe $10 or grab it at your local little place near your house. But yeah, Maximum Achievement, I think that's the key, man. I mean, I've had that on my desk for a long time. I also have Napoleon Hill, like a 3-inch book of his on my desk. It's I think it's The Science of Achievement or something like that. And anything by Napoleon Hill is amazing. I try and listen to his audiobooks, but I can't. Unless I speed it up to go chipmunk style, I can't handle it. It's too slow. My brain needs to go faster. And so, here's another tip, too. For those of you that like to listen to audiobooks, your mind will race and will go off into creative spaces. So to help you with that, and that's not a bad thing. It's good. That's what audiobooks and all this stuff is designed to do. Not for you to necessarily pay attention to everything that's being said, but it's to stimulate the creativity that's already inside of you. You're not trying to get new information. You're trying to uncover the information that's already in you, right? That's the whole idea about being inspired. But my point is that you can get apps on your smartphone that will speed up the talking. Like where some people, they talk so slow. Some of these audiobooks are so slow. I mean, I'm already having 13 other thoughts by the time they get their other word out, right? And so you could actually speed up and slow down, certain audios. So anyway, that's just an idea. Throw that out to you. It's helped me get through an 8-hour book in like 3 hours, and I retain so much more of it.
Here's something pretty cool too. Like I used to have, I think it was 2008. I was sitting working I call it a gopher job because it's the same repetition stuff at Sony Electronics in San Diego, and I was listening to Jim Rohn in my headphones as I was working on this test bench. And I remember Jim Rohn. All I remember, Scott, was this. He says, "Service to many leads to greatness." That's what the good book. He always references like different stories out of the good book or the Bible, and that's what stood out to me that time. He says, "Service to many leads to greatness." He says, if you want to achieve greatness, he says, not everybody does. It's not everybody's plan. But if you really want to achieve greatness, you got to have a service that you help out enough people get what they want. And of course, he references Zig Ziglar saying, help enough people get what they want, you'll have everything you want. But that really stood out to me. And so if you're like Scott and I, we're a little bit more hyperactive, quote unquote hyperactive, that we need to get pumped up by ourselves, like natural energy. I actually ended up quitting my job. I remember walking out of there like I was just zoned. I was like, I cannot be here. This is not greatness. This is a freaking lab rat job. I'm stuck like an engineer. And even though that's what I studied to be, an engineer, I was not excited. It wasn't something that I felt in my life that I wanted freedom. I think that's what we all kind of want to achieve. We want that leverage. We want that freedom. And sure, you can develop your own businesses, and I've run my own personal businesses. But again, it was a business that required 100% of my efforts and 100% of my time. I had absolutely no leverage. There was nobody out there hustling for me, making me income. It was all me. And I knew that going back to that original audio that I heard back in 08, kind of to bring this all dial in, bring it home, is that you got to find that space. Kind of going back to what Bill was asking, how do you find that confidence to build up? I don't know what other way to advise you guys, but you gotta be surrounded with good personal development daily. You gotta be plugged in. Webinars like these are gonna get you your questions answered. How do you get to the next level? And you almost need a push. You gotta have that burning desire. which brings me to my next question, Scott. When did you start writing down your goals? Was it like your very beginning? Did you do that like a year later? When did you actually start writing down your goals to kind of have a clear, defined goal in your business?
It's a great question. I think in the beginning we had a lot of business type goals, right? We had a lot of promotion type goals because, no matter what business somebody is in, there's probably a stairway to success, right? There's probably this level, then that level, then that level. So there's business goals. And in the beginning, that's what I would recommend doing. I'd recommend hitting those goals. Now, like what I said with my personal coaching clients, I walk through an entire vision process, really highlighting and assisting people in creating an image of what they want their life to look like without pulling the negative stuff from the past with them. See, the problem is that we operate out of lenses of our past experiences, right? So if you have glasses on right now, imagine them being with lenses, right, which they probably are unless you just wear frames for fun. So you have lenses and you're looking through, and just imagine that the lenses are all of your past experiences. So you're looking at life, but you're looking at it filtered. What if we could take the filter out, and now you can look at your future? What would you see? That's the type of stuff that I go through in my coaching and really get rid of the lenses so that you can really, truly see what is really possible, that you could really go accomplish without any of these, weights or anchors weighing you down of things maybe that you didn't succeed at for whatever reason in the past. So goal setting, I think in the beginning, have it be company type goals, business type goals, because it's something real simple. It's right there in front of you. And then for us, that's what we did right away, Cesar. We set goals. And people told us, they said, set a 30-day goal, and then we didn't hit it. They're like, well, do it again. And I didn't hit it. And then I got resistant to setting goals. I mean, how many people listening are resistant to setting goals? Because how many times have you set goals and you haven't hit them? Well, I got to tell you that all champions have set thousands of goals that they haven't hit. And it's okay. It's part of the deal. But see, corporate America type person bringing that into being an entrepreneur is like, well, that square plug is not fitting into this round hole. If I set something, I have to hit it. Well, that's not being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, you need to stretch and do the best that you can to hit a certain place. And if you don't hit it, you reset it and you do it again. And you be okay with a learning experience. Anyway, Cesar, that's on the goal setting, man.
Whew, that fired you up. That's good stuff. So here's a question that came in from Mark out there in, looks like, Pennsylvania. What do you say to strangers when you're out and about? So I guess this would be more sort of like if you're at a coffee shop or, you see somebody dressed nice. So let's say that they're dressed nice. I would say that would be kind of considered recruiting up, if you want to go for that.
Sure.
So what would you say to that person?
No matter what business you're in, if you're in the business of growing business, you're in the business of recruiting. I mean, it's just if you're in the NFL and you're a recruiter and you're recruiting, looking for new talent, or if you work for Apple Computers and you're looking for people to fill other positions, or you're in a home-based business and you're looking for that next leader to build that organization. I mean, we're always looking for people. So if you're out and about and you come across this person that's just got this energy that's just like amazing, and you're just inside, you're kicking yourself for not saying anything to that person, and you're like, what do I say? I'll give you a tip. Breathe, number one, and compliment the person, like a genuine, honest compliment. Hey, you have really good energy. I've never said you have really good energy to somebody that's come back to me negative. It's never happened. You know why? Because you're not saying, hey, those are really nice socks. I mean, somebody could think they're nice or they're not nice. I mean, that's a reality. Socks you could look at, you could touch. But if you say to somebody, hey, you have really good energy, you'll find that if you say that to somebody, they're going to smile almost, every time. I've never had somebody frown, right? And then at that point, you just say, can I ask what you do for work? I'm just curious. What do you do for work? Because you've already complimented them. I'm just curious. What do you do for work? And then they tell you. Or maybe you're at their location where they're working. They're the server at the restaurant. That's maybe a little bit different. But let me just take you out of the restaurant. You just say to them, what do you do for work? And they say whatever they do. And they say, hey, listen, I know this is really random. It's very random. I would say that, random. But on the side of whatever they said they do, they go to school and they go to work, or they just go to work, or whatever they said they do, on the side of, do you by any chance keep your options open to other business ideas? That's it.
Great question.
They say, sure, depends what it is. And then you say, listen, I don't have a lot of time right now. What's your name again? And you put out your hand, and they automatically say their name. It's just weird. When you put out your hand, you say, what's your name again? They'll say their name, right? And they say, great, my name's Scott. Nice to meet you. Hey, what's the best number to contact you at in a couple of days just to give you some info? Flows. Super simple. Cesar, we built our organization from zero to way tens and tens of thousands of people, all from cold market, meeting strangers in the mall.
That's pretty amazing, man. I mean, considering that we've all, coming from the internet space, some of the junk that's still sold out there is that never talk to people. And I can tell you guys that's far from the disbelief truth, because even though if I've generated thousands and thousands of leads online, I had to pick up the phone and apply everything that Scott just shared with you guys. I still had to pick up the phone and connect with those folks. Sure, I'll get one or two, like, just kind of slip in there on the internet, but there's nothing that has been more sustainable in I think in the business platform than connecting with somebody. Which brings me to my next question. Someone on my team actually emailed me this earlier this morning. Says, Cesar, I've generated a lot of leads. I got phone numbers. I just don't know what to say to them, Scott. So should I use a script is what they asked. I think this is David that was on the team, but he mentioned what can I do to generate, or rather, what do I do? Do I just email them? Do I call them? He's got, I don't know, thousands of leads that he's generated through Craigslist, and that's what I teach people how to do. So what do you do with these folks that are cold market? How do you get them to respond? Right. What do you say to him when he calls them?
Well, the first thing I would do is counsel upline, right? Rule number one, always counsel upline. Like whatever your success line is, whatever they're coaching, go there first. Any advice from a third party, you want to take it maybe to them or kind of funnel it through, what you've known. But let's take that off to the side. And generally what I would tell you is that it's all about creating connections. And it's hard to create a connection over an email. It's hard to create a connection over a text. It's hard to create connections that way, right? It's about your energy. It's about where you're coming from. So it's always best to make the phone call, right? It's always best to make the phone call. People say, when should I call them? Right now. Right now is a good time. What if they're eating dinner? Oh, what if they're putting the kids down? Or what if they already went to bed? Or what if it's too early? Or what if they're in church on Thursday? Or what if this and what if it? Whatever. You could talk yourself out of doing anything. I'm just saying, if you want to make it happen, right now, TNT, today, not tomorrow, right now, right? So just call them and always refresh their memory. Hey, I met you here. You responded to an ad here. The ad said this. And then, my opinion would be to reconnect with them. Hey, what do you do again? What do you do? How long have you been doing that? See if you can get them to develop a little bit of rapport. And remember, people like talking about themselves. So ask them a couple of questions about what they do. Hey, what do you do? How long have you been doing that? Why are you doing that? What interests you there? Why are you looking for something else to do? Great. If you found the perfect something else to do, when would you be ready to take some action? Is it something that you've been looking around for a long time? Oh, yeah, I've been looking for like 4 years, right? The lady says, I've been looking for 4 years. And then I'm like, wow, you must not be very serious. You're just more curious. Would that be correct? And then she says, wow. Well, yeah, I'm just curious. And, do you want to spend a lot of time with curious people? No, not if you want to make money. You say, hey, listen, I think at this point the best thing to do is that I'm going to shoot you over some information. Take a look at it. If it looks like something you'd like to know more about, reach back out to me. But I wanted to make a personal phone call to you just so that you would know that there's a real person behind an email.
Oh,
right?
Something along
those lines.
Love it. Good stuff. Okay. I got somebody on my team. What's the window time frame? Should I focus on them, getting their first recruit? Should I figure out ways to help generate leads? What should be the focus in the system? And I think this is kind of a general question because this can go for any company of the 4,000 different home-based businesses out there. How often do you connect with your team, a new team member? It's almost like a mother and a new child, right? How often do you babysit them? Because a lot of people have emailed me and said, Cesar, I don't want to run an adult babysitting division. So I know you've obviously recruited a lot more bodies than I have in your lifetime, Scott. So can you kind of share with us, how do you handle even 10,000 people in your downline?
I think it's just about creating stories. That's what we've been focused on doing for years. That's what I'd recommend everybody. If you have any type of a team that you're building, you need to focus on your new person's story. Okay, so I don't know how it's structured or how the money flows. Everything's a little bit different, but help the new person. You're trying to pay your bills. You're trying to hit your promotions. You're right. But if you can somehow get into the head of that new person and help them succeed and help them create a story and tell them, say, hey, listen, my focus is to help you create a story. Because I want you to create a story. I'm going to put you up on a pedestal, and then we're going to go around and we're going to say, hey, he did it or she did it or whatever, and now your bubble, is going to be looking up to you. Like, wow, if you did it, I can do it. Because I always tell people, who cares about me? Who cares about our home or our checks or our what? Nobody cares. What they care about is you. I want to help you, right? So have it all be about that, because if you just have a lot of new people without getting stories, then you're going to have to rebuild forever, right? But if you help people create stories and then put them up on a pedestal and have them be a leader, then all of a sudden what happens is that they'll step up. They will step up to the challenge. Most people of leadership, when they have some type of a story. And it could be, hey, I got my first sale my first day. It could be as simple as that. Or it could be, hey, I got my first recruit in my first week. Whatever it is, make the story. And then have that set the bar. And then anybody else say, hey, here's the bar. Here's where the bar's at. And then have other people run to the bar, right? And then so that helps out. And in terms of staying in communication, more than that, you got to have systems that do that for you. You got to group people together, right? You want to spend 90% of your time with 10% of the people. You all got that? You want to spend 90% of your time with 10% of the people. And then you want to spend 10% of your time with 90% of your people. What's that? That means on a conference call, on a webinar, at a hotel group event, something like that. And that starts out in the beginning. And let me just say this, Cesar, real quick, and then we can wrap up or whatnot. But when one of the big things about my coaching and how I help people's mindset is where to focus on. So many people focus on what's not working. They try and get the 80% of people to become a 20%er. They say, hey, listen, if these people would just do something, it's like being in an airplane that's got two propellers, one on one side and one on the other, and the propellers are going, and you're up in this airplane. One of the propellers goes out. All these people run over to that side of the airplane, and they're like, oh, my gosh, this propeller, it stopped moving. Oh, we're all going to go down and all this. And then you say, hey, you guys, come over here. Look, see this one? It's still working. See this one over here? It's still working. So while so many people will always run inherently to the negative side of something, if you can keep your focus on what is working, not on what's not working in the business, you're going to succeed like crazy. I tell people all the time, I say, look, 90% of people are going to quit in 90 days, right? I tell them that right away. I say, listen, I don't want you focusing on 9 out of 10. I want you focusing on the 1. And I want you to help that 1 go find their 1 and their 2 and their 3 and their 4 and then their 20, 40, 60, 70,000 people. But you'll never get to 10, 20,000 people if you're focused on, hey, how come 9 out of 10 people are quitting Big deal. It's because people quit. Think how many people join a gym that don't go to the gym. Who cares? It's not about don't be average. We put on the email today, average people are not on this call. Average people will not hear the recording. Don't be average. You don't have to be average.
Wow. Love it, man. That's huge. I actually had a leader this week ask me, man, it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. My team, I'm pouring my heart into them. I'm spending 2 hours on the phone with them, which I think is obviously too much time. Let the system do the work. I don't think you have to spend that much time with them. But he says that, they're falling off every 90 days. They're just leaving. And so I believe that's just the system, right? I mean, that's just the way people get busy. People get life in a way.
It's the way it is. Here's the deal. After every 90 days, you're going to have a few other key people that stick with you for the next 90 days.
That's huge. Love it, man. Love it. Well, let's see if we got time. I'm going to leave the question open here for about a minute. If I don't get any other questions in the chat, guys, then we'll go ahead and close out the meeting. There's a lot of great questions that came in today. I appreciate everybody that asked their questions. So hopefully we answered everybody. This is being recorded for the future. Playback is via my YouTube channel. If you guys missed the first webinar, you guys are welcome to go to my YouTube channel and look at that webinar I did with Scott. He talked a lot about his background and the backstory, how he got here. Tonight was really about just answering your questions, and making sure we carve out that roadblock that's stopping you from going to the next level, right? So looks like Bill said one more thing here. My note, don't look to the future through the lens of the past. Absolutely, Bill. Yeah, I mean, that's really that's really what broke through. My breakthrough was that. I was so caught up in the drama of growing up, and even to this day, I mean, I don't want to throw out my age out there, but I'm approaching my 40s, man, and to this day, I still have that one parent, that really emotionally and subconsciously destroyed my mindset. Growing up, still telling me what to do, and that really affected me in sales, and so I had to overcome that, right? And I didn't know, I didn't know as a parent, who was I to judge my parents? But I had no idea that what they told me at the age of, I think I was 7 years old, and what not only told me, but physically what they did to me, and really affected me on how to connect with people. I 2-3 years ago, let's see, this is 09. Yeah, 09 is when I had my breakthrough. So now going on 5 years ago, I would not have noticed that if I didn't hire a coach. Okay, does that make sense? I think it took me paying the price to really have somebody, a stranger, tell me, this is where you're messed up. So that I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the stranger telling me, a coach that is making 7 figures telling me, this is where you need to focus on. This is where you got to, like Scott said, take off that lens that you're focused on, and let's look over here, because there's opportunity over here. Nothing lives over here in the pits where you're. It smells really bad, if that makes sense. You guys ever been around people that are negative and it just starts getting really stinky? Well, now you know what that means. So George says, most importantly, when you wake up every day. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So I think you asked me a question. What's the most important thing when you wake up every day to? I guess it's a question because you put a question mark. So, Scott, what would be the most important thing when you wake up every day to first think about? What's your mindset?
Number one always is being grateful.
Huge.
You got to be grateful no matter what you have. If you have nothing, you have the ability to think. You have the ability to reason. You have the ability to take a breath. Focus on what you're grateful for, and it helps spin the right vibe out for your day.
Perfect.
Hey, Cesar, I put together a promo 8. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just got a text message. Someone's not on the chat here on the webinar. They're actually dialed in from one of my leaders asking me what more information about your coaching services because they want to go to the next level Is it still xfactorcoaching.com promo 8? Is that still working?
Yeah, it is. It's still up.
Maybe talk about what you offer there.
Sure. You guys listen. I mean, here's the thing. If I can add value for you, right? And I've been doing quite a few one-on-one coaching sessions with different people in different industries. And like today, I had a coaching session with a guy that, I mean, he's not even in home-based business or network marketing, right? But he found me over Twitter somehow or something, I don't know. And I just said, hey, man, this is a God thing. I mean, we found each other and whatever. And let me just see, like, just give me where you're at right now in your life, and maybe I can add value. And I was able to do that. And, you know, it's just from being perspective. I mean, it's having so many years and conversations and being free. And you guys, I mean, it's just a whole different level, right? I mean, think about this. Somebody can only give you the perspective from which the point that they've attained, right? I mean, think about that. So, you know, if you can grab some perspective from somebody that has lenses that can see from a whole different perspective and an angle, it could cut the learning curve for you so much. And what is time worth? What is time worth for you of getting to your result quicker? What's it worth to you? How many seminars or would you pay to go to, or how many books would you buy, and how many programs would you buy online that are general and generic? And there's nothing wrong with general, generic programs. I mean, we've all had lots of them, but there's nothing better than that one-on-one personal coaching from somebody that's been there and done that. And that's what I do, right? That's what I'm good at. That's what I feel that's what I feel peace about, right? That's what I enjoy. And so I put together a couple of packages that are very much discounted on my website. My website is X Factor Coaching, so the letter X and then factorcoaching.com, xfactorcoaching.com, and then /promo 8, the number 8, promo 8.
That's a discount link, guys, for tonight. And I also have I have the page open here, Scott. I also put the link inside the chat, guys. You guys can click on it. You can talk about the videos. If I remember watching this a couple weeks ago, you brought a lot of good value into this video. I mean, just free value that you give out on this video alone.
Sure. And I don't care about your email, right? Some of you guys are marketers. You're marketers, right? I mean, you understand the value of getting a list and this and that. For you guys and for this and for Cesar, and I don't care, you know. Go there, watch my video. I put a video like, what is the X Factor? You know, there's a 7-minute video that you'll get value from that. And underneath that are the couple of different options for coaching. You'll see the discounts on there. I think I put one up that's like $150. $150, I think, is 15 rolls of quarters, right? 15 rolls of quarters, and it's almost ridiculous for me even to say, but it gives me a chance to get into your bubble. It gives me a chance to help you, you know, create a story, and then for me to either continue helping you or for me to maybe get referrals from you and help somebody else, right? So that's why I'm okay to be that low in price. The $500 package is the most popular package. The $500 package for you guys is 5 sessions, right, of 40 minutes, 5 40-minute sessions. Normally it's just 4, and we can get a lot done. I mean, I don't have a cookie-cutter template. I do have a beginning and an end and what it is that we'd like to accomplish in these sessions. But really, I ask you, where would you like to be at? What's going on right now in your life? And what happens is I'm able to get in there with you and kind of dig down and figure out kind of where you're stuck. And it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame, right? Think about that. It's really difficult to see the picture when you're in the frame. So that's why if you have somebody like myself that's willing to say, hey, here's what I can see, here's some perspective if you're open for coaching. And then, of course, your wall has to be down so that we can just communicate. Because coaching isn't a battle. It's insight, right? And it's me giving you value that's worth way more than whatever dollars that you put on a credit card to, you know, purchase some time. So anyway, Cesar, I'm excited about it. I'm going to keep that link up and open until tomorrow night for the people that are on the recording or people that have to get creative with their money and borrow it from somebody. That's totally fine. And then we're going to go and close it down. Then it'll go to just the regular session, which is more than that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you doing that. So if you guys didn't catch my video I made on Tuesday, invited you guys to the webinar, you heard correctly. I spent over $2,000 when I hired a coach. So Scott doing this promo for you guys, I really appreciate him doing that for my team. As a matter of fact, Chris Smith just joined us, so he missed that question that he asked me this week. Chris, that will be on the replay, so make sure to catch that on the replay, because I asked that same question that you asked me. I wanted a different perspective from a millionaire, Scott Aguilar, who's on the webinar tonight, and he really covered that really well. So that's on the replay. You'll catch that in a few. Let's see. Any other questions I can answer, you guys? Be happy to answer you. But really, the value that was given here tonight, I'm going to copy these questions that I wrote down and the answers that Scott had responded to. It'll be a part of a video recording on my YouTube channel, and this will be inside of the description. So, all the questions that we talked about: how do you stay motivated? When should I quit my job? My team is dying. He answers all this stuff. Which is actually how can I build a team that will last? So all these questions were really good questions, and they keep going. Great stuff tonight, Scott. I know you're a busy individual with your team and of course your family's time. So I don't know how you do it, brother. Be on the phone coaching new bodies, but I do appreciate you doing that because I know what it's done for me in my life, and hitting that next level is what we all want to achieve. So thanks for coming out tonight, and everybody that dialed in. That didn't see the visual, look out for an email. Or just send me an email when you get to your computer or your phone. Just say, hey, can I get the visual of the stuff that you guys were talking about? And I will go ahead and do that as well. So X Factor Coaching, that's the letter X, factorcoaching.com/promo8. That's the discount if you want some coaching time with Scott. I highly recommend it. If you come to me and tell me, Cesar, where can I find this stuff for free on the internet? I can tell you. Let me give you an analogy. Okay, I was doing this thing called CrossFit, and I'm not doing it now because I threw my back out. But someone asked me, like, I'll just pay to go to the gym for $20 because CrossFit costs $125 a month. And then if you ask me how many times I showed up to the gym when I was paying $15 to go to my local gym versus how many times I showed up to go to CrossFit, the difference is in CrossFit, I had a coach in my face telling me, you need to work on your squats. You need to work on on the way you position your body. And when I'm at the gym, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. I'll throw some deadlifts there. I'll throw some squats in there, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'm usually working on my upper body. That's why you see a lot of these bodybuilders with more body and they forget leg day. They have skinny legs because they didn't have a coach to say, hey, you got to work on your legs, buddy. All their perspective is what they're seeing in the mirror. And when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, and it's only you, what's your mindset telling you, right? And so my advice to you is if you have a coach, right, if you pay the price and you come back and say, Cesar, man, you're absolutely right. What you just shared with me, having a coach next to me that isn't somebody I'm close to. Because, see, a lot of people on my team, they're close to me. And so when I was building my business back 4 years ago, I had to go out and reach outside of my circle to go hire a coach because I didn't like necessarily my uplight. And a lot of you guys may not like, if you're on my team, you may not like me, and I'm okay with that. Okay, but you like the system. You like the people that you're involved with, right? And so it makes sense for you to go and work with a coach that has a different perspective, a different lens, if you will, to get you to what you want to see. I love that analogy that Scott shared tonight, a different lens to get you to be able to break through to that next level, okay? And so, I would go in the 40 minutes. If you guys can do the $500, do the $500. If you can't, if it's a far stretch, just do $150. Do the 2 sessions of 30 minutes, and that's enough to get carving your time and get the questions answered that you deserve to get you unstuck. It may not be like in my situation, it may not even be a business question. It might be a personal life issue that's getting you stuck from breaking through to the next level. So with that said, you guys have a fantastic night. Awesome webinar tonight, Scott. Thanks for coming out and answering these questions. Feel free to email me more questions, guys. Hopefully I'll get a more answer for you guys. So we can cover a lot of the main questions that come down to recruiting, okay? How to keep your system intact, how you go and find leaders. You don't go for, if you're 6, remember this, if you're an average person, you don't recruit a lot of people. You'd say you're a 5 or a 6, but you don't want to go for the 9s. You want to go for the next level up 7 and let them recruit up. I love that analogy. It really hit home because I'm always looking out for leaders and looking for folks that maybe I didn't find a leader. I mean, here's what's crazy. My number one recruiter for many, many months in my current business, right, the ones that I built, I didn't even find her, okay? I found her through a gentleman who was about a 5, about a 6, where I was at, and then he found her. And amazingly enough, she just became a machine on recruiting in the beginning. She was just hitting it hard every single month. Boom, boom, first place in my ranks. And to find those kind of quality of people, you have to put yourself out there, whether it's through YouTube, whether it's through, like Scott was saying, connecting offline, and just talking and feeding somebody that's dressing sharp. Say, hey, you're dressed sharp. I'm just curious. What do you do for a living? As a matter of fact, that is a great opening question I ask everybody. I do that to my Instagram. I have an automatic Instagram thing. I might do another webinar talking about Instagram, how to generate leads. But we talk about how to connect with people. Just ask them, hey, I'm just curious. What do you do for a living? You look sharp. I like how Scott covered that. So with that said, guys, it is now 7 o'clock here, 10 o'clock Eastern time. So I appreciate my Eastern folks staying up tonight, hanging out with us, and getting a lot of value here. So shoot me an email, go to my website, just let me know how you guys love this webinar, and if you didn't get your questions answered because you're kind of shy, that's okay too. If you're dialed in, you obviously couldn't ask the questions on the chat, so make sure to send me an email, and I'll be happy to get back to you. We can get some of those questions covered for you guys. So that's it for tonight. You guys have a great night, and talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, good night.
Good night, buddy. All right, thanks, Bill. Thanks, Gilbert, for being on tonight, and George for asking great questions. We'll talk to you soon.